Like that's like it's like the law of attraction where it's like people just believe they can write it on a whiteboard and it's going to come out as no. You do have to believe it, but you have to take that appropriate action to get it. So and that's how
Okay,
you, yeah.
okay.
That should be
Let
the
me.
disclaimer.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Eric McHugh, a visionary technologist and serial entrepreneur whose journey spans from Snap to innovative startups around the globe. Driven by curiosity and the desire to make a positive impact, Eric explores the delicate balance between the physical and spiritual realms, reminding us that our inner world shapes our outer reality. Let's dive into Eric's insight and discover the quote that has inspired him on this remarkable path. Yeah, tell us your name and what your favorite quote is.
So nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric, and my favorite quote is "As above, so below; as within, so without."
Okay, so what does that quote mean?
So that quote comes from a guy named Hermes Trismegistus, and he's an ancient philosopher. He's one of the people who understood the ancient texts and vibration, frequency, and energy before anyone else, or before anyone in the modern times. And that quote essentially means that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So if you're not liking what you see in the outer world, you don't have to change the outer world. What you have to do is change what's happening in the inner world. So for example, if you're staring at a mirror, you see that guy frowning. How do you change the frown? You can't change the mirror. You have to change yourself.
Yeah, okay. How long have you known this quote?
This quote probably 3-4 years. It's been a cornerstone of my spiritual journey.
Okay. Can you remember the first time you got introduced to the quote?
And 3-4 years ago, one of my close friends slash mentors, he was talking about Hermes, and then he mentioned that quote, and then recommended I read the Emerald Tablet. I read it, and it just really sunk in.
Well, can you repeat the quote again?
As above, so below; as within, so without.
Okay. As above, so below. As within, so without.
Yes.
Okay, you
After
did
the
ex
episode.
you did explain the as within, so without. What about the above, so below?
So essentially, they mean really the same thing. So as above, so below. So if something's happening above and it's happening below, and that basically means that there are three planes of existence. So the spiritual, the mental, and the physical plane. And they're, no, I mean, they're not like above and below, but the spiritual is above the mental. The mental is above the physical. So if you want to change the physical, how do you do that? You change what's happening in the spiritual, that trickles down to the mental, and then that drops down to the physical. So if something's happening in the physical world, then that means how do you change what's happening in the physical world? You change what's happening in the mental world through your thoughts.
Are you explaining the above and then below and then yeah when it cut off?
Yeah, of course. So in Hermetic philosophy, there are three planes of existence. So the lowest form, or I guess the term of like, it's not like above, technically it's like densities of vibration. So the lowest level is the physical world. Above the physical world is the mental world, or the mental plane of existence, and above the mental plane of existence is the spiritual plane of existence. So they all reflect each other. So for example, if you're experiencing something in the everything that's happened in the physical world that you're experiencing right now has happened. It starts in the spiritual, goes to the mental, and then drops down to the physical. So that's where it says, like, if something's happening as below the physical world, it's happened in the mental world already. So to change the physical world, you change the mental world through your
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah. Can you give us 3 to 5 instances or stories in your life that where these quotes kind of like made sense
Yeah. So
or
the quote
illustrated?
makes Yeah, sure. So the quote makes a lot of sense in the business world. So I believe in quantum theory, where the reality we're experiencing right now, I think every reality is happening at once, and the one we're experiencing is the one we're paying attention to, which is why in the business world it's so important to pay attention to the positive and have a positive outlook, because if you're paying attention to the positive outlook, then you'll collapse the good reality for you. So that's where your mental thoughts come in. So like, oh, this is going well. It turns out to go pretty well. Another instance is in networking. So I believe in energy frequency and vibration. So everyone's operating at a specific frequency. So if you're operating at the frequency of love, helpfulness, peace, joy, you're going to attract those types of people into your life, which is obviously better in networking versus if you go to a networking event and you're just like, what can I get out of this person? How can I make as much money ripping people off? You're going to attract those type of business people in your life. So changing the inner world and trying to help as many people as possible, you attract people who are trying to help as many people as possible into your life. And from a business perspective, that's just way better than having
Yeah.
people trying to nip you in the bud. And I would say the third example where this has been really helpful is just the baseline of products. So when you're creating businesses, when you're creating products, if you have the mindset of I'm trying to help people, then that business has good intention behind it, has good energy, and then it's gonna have good results. Because if your business is in the physical plane, it's like, oh, I'm a good business. Because I think of businesses as like alive children, whereas like if your business is trying to help people, that's below or it starts with, so if you think I'm going to create a business that's going to help people, that's manifesting in the mental world, and then it drops down to the physical world, you have a business that helps people, and then you have the opportunity to reach and add value to people's lives.
Well, I think I'll have to like rephrase the question. Um, that code is the type of code that even if probably you've heard it 4 or 5 years ago, it's a code that once you see, you can connect things that happen even before you got introduced to your codes to it, and then the things that happen after to it. So I want you to like, if you're comfortable, and if you're not, you still let me know, and I will just like skip the question. If you're comfortable sharing instances in your own personal life where you you the quotes kind of like made sense, kind of like like played out it in real time for you. You understand?
Yeah, no, so like
Okay, okay.
in my personal life, how does this happen? How does it actually manifested? So
Yeah.
the way I use this quote in my personal life is instead of trying to change things in the physical life, try to change things in the mental plane first. So I have really good physical health because in the mental plane, I pictured myself as someone in really good physical health, and that's dropped down the physical plane. I pictured myself with tons of friends, that's dropped down the physical plane. I pictured myself like having multiple businesses, and that's dropped down to the physical plane. And the key to operating the mental plane is to actually feel it, to actually believe it. So it's not like you're not it's not cause and effect, it's you're causing the effect. So these manifested in the real life is because I believe that they happen in the mental plane first and then they came down. So I use that tactic in my personal life. So if there's something I really want, I usually do this right before I go to bed or right before I wake up or in meditation. I just strongly visualize it. And that creates something in the mental plane, which goes down to the physical plane. And on top of that, that's why podcasting is so helpful, or that's why marketing and podcasting is so helpful, because what you're doing at scale is you're trying to get other people to think about what you want in their mental planes and it drops down to the physical plane. So if I go on a podcast and I say dating's gonna have match a billion happy couples and it's gonna help the world, and more people start thinking about it, that actually manifests faster. So if you watch Dragon Ball Z, it's kind of like how he did the spirit bomb and he's manifesting or he's getting energy from a lot of different people and it's like storing up, and once enough energy is stored up, it goes to the physical plane.
Oh, now if you share this quote, and if you had the opportunity to add a disclaimer to the quotes, kind of how on YouTube, when people share all these financial YouTube channels, before they start sharing financial advice, usually they'll put all these things are not financial stuff. Please
Yeah.
kind of like a disclaimer, right? So I feel like every quote has like a disclaimer, right? It's simply like to tell people that this is not the interpretation. Don't misinterpret it as this. You have to know this and you understand this. So what are some of the disclaimers you say that you want to tell people so that they don't kind of like get the wrong thing out of the quote?
So my biggest disclaimer about this quote is be careful with the quote. It's a powerful quote. It really works, and I believe in karma. So use this quote to help other people. So if you're trying to manifest anything and create products and services that help people, great. Because if you're making products and services that help people, yeah, your karma, that's going to add on. But if you use this in a negative way, like you're saying, I want to manifest me stealing millions of dollars from people all over the world, that works too, but that karma is going to come back to bite you. So just doing it in a good way. Don't harm anyone. Don't take anything away from anyone. You should be good.
Okay, okay, okay. What is above is below, and what is without, what is within, as within. How do you say it again? Repeat.
As above, so below. As without, within, so without. It's by Hermes Trismegistus.
Okay, 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 okay. Well, that's good also within. Wow, wow. So, um, you talked about we have to picture this, we have to picture that. So I need to understand. Are you saying that I need to, I need to let me ask this question so I can really understand what you're saying. Are you saying that is this visualization, or can you like really explain? Yes. Right now, I feel like I understand, but I still feel like I don't understand. Are you saying we should visualize it, or what is going on?
Visualizing, yes, it's more so about feeling it. So you have to feel like, let's say you become really rich. Before you become really, you don't feel like you're really rich. Once you become really rich, you become really rich once you feel like you become really rich. So you're really just putting yourself in that position, feeling the emotions you'd have with it, like buying your mom a house, treating your friends to dinner, feeling that what feels like. And that's happening in the mental plane. And then the physical, if you do that for long enough, then that'll catch up in the physical role. But stuff like doubt, fear, that clouds that and distracts that.
Okay, okay, okay. I feel like I'm getting it. I feel like I'm getting it. I'm almost there. Okay. So okay, I'll give an example. Let's say I have a goal of let's say making $10,000 per month, right?
Yep.
That's the goal, right? So how do we? Okay, let's start with the first part of the quotes. How do we make the above be
So that's where I would operate in the mental plane first, and you just have to think about it constantly and actually believe that you already have it. So there's a difference between need, like let's say you need 10 like $10,000 versus if you say I really want or need $10,000 a month, what you're essentially saying is I don't have this right now and I'm in lack, so that's actually going to put it farther away. Whereas if you feel like you believe you already have it, you are $10,000 a month, then that tells the universe that you're already one with it, you're already connected to it, and then it'll eventually manifest in the real world. The important thing is you may not have 10,000, like clearly you may not have $10,000, you may not be making $10,000 this month, but don't let the physical world deter you because what's happening in this physical world right now, the physical plane, is just a culmination of your past assumptions.
okay? So just to be clear, this quote is not telling us that we should just believe that we have $10,000 and not do anything, and then
Oh
ten
no, you
thousand
need yeah,
dollars will
you need
come to
action.
us.
You need action. Like you can't just like that's like it's like the law of attraction where it's like people just believe they can write it on a whiteboard and it's going to come out. No, you do have to believe it, but you have to take the appropriate action to get it. So and that's how
Okay,
you yeah.
okay.
That should be the disclaimer.
Let me explain what I understand the quotes to be, and then you tell me if that's what it is or if it's something else, right? In self-improvement, there's something called the identity. Having the identity, I'll give an example. If I wanted to be a writer, right? And I'll ask myself, what does it mean to be a writer? How does a writer behave? How does a writer feel? How does a writer do things? And then I'm like, if I'm a writer, okay, I'll give an example. Let's say I wanted to be a famous writer. Now, instead of being a famous writer, I ask myself, what does it mean to be a writer? Okay, a writer writes basically almost every day consistently, and they show up, they publish their work, and they share their work. And then I start doing the things that um a writer does, and eventually I get to the goal. So basically, I instead of um chasing the achievements or all those things, I'm trying to like become that thing, become, okay, in this case, the writer, right? So it's good. It's a good thing you quickly clarify that this is not attraction where you're like, if you just do think about this, write it down, and then you're going to become a millionaire overnight without having to do anything, right? But you instead
No,
you're
no,
saying that you want to clarify something.
no, sorry, you're just kind of cutting off, but no, you're really on the right track. Like if it's not saying I want to be, so if you let's say you want to become a writer, you're just like I want to become a writer, I want to become a writer, I want to become a writer. What you're doing is you're creating separation between you and being the writer. So how do you become the writer? You just start literally being the writer and doing it consistently. And you're gonna have doubts, you're gonna have people doubting you, you're gonna have your own doubts. The more doubts you entertain, the longer it'll take for you to actually become the fully realized writer that you are. So you just have to keep, and as you do, like let's say for you said to become a writer, it's like I have to write daily practices or daily whatever. You start to view yourself. You may not be doing this consciously, but as you're doing what you believe a writer should do, you're gathering energy in the mental plane, saying, "Okay, this these are what the best writers in the world are doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm a great writer, and you're just gathering energy there, storing up. And let's say your parents are like, you're a terrible writer, and then you entertain it for a bit. That energy goes away, but then you're just like, oh, I'm back. Never mind, I'm a good writer. And you just keep going. So you just have to focus on the end goal, and then the middle will work itself out. So for example, like I'll use one of my companies as an example, dating. It's an AI-powered matchmaking service. We're matching a billion happy couples. Notice how I just say we're already matching a billion happy couples. In the physical plane, have we matched a billion happy couples? No. Do I know how we're going to match a billion happy couples? No. But I know it's going to happen, and how we work out in the middle, like how we get there, that's working itself out, and that's fine. But as long as the end goal, like the end thought is there, the rest will work itself out.
Okay. And then for the as within, so is without, is basically if I believe that I'm a writer, I start behaving and acting as one, and then it's to start reflect, and then I start writing, and then I start putting out work out there, and yeah, so it's not like, oh, I have to like publish books, win achievements before I start feeling or behaving as a writer.
You won't win. You'll publish books and win achievements because you started feeling you're a writer, not the other way around. So you won't feel like it's even you won't feel like a writer after you start writing the books and winning the achievements. You'll write the books because you feel like a writer. Where most people will feel like, or they'll be like, oh, I'll feel like a writer once I write my first book. I'll feel like a writer once I win this first award. But no, you'll win the awards because you feel like a writer first.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this quote with us and explaining it to a level that I get to understand. Yeah. Before we go, can you just like quickly, just say the quote again and kind of like round up the quote for us, and then I get to ask you what your call to action is.
Yeah, so as above, so below, as within, so without. The as above, so below part represents the planes of existence. So there's the physical at the bottom, mental in the middle, spiritual at the top, and they all reflect each other. So if something's happening in the mental plane, it's happened in or if something's happened in the physical plane, it's happened in the mental and spiritual. So if you don't like what's happening in the physical plane, just switch what's happening in the mental plane, and then the physical plane will follow, and vice versa. As within, so without, it's essentially just think of that one as like a mirror, where it's like you see a mirror, you see a frowning face. How do you change the frowning face? Well, you can't change the mirror, so you just have to change what's happening within. So essentially what's happening within will reflect in the outer world. So that's where the writer comes in. I feel like a writer. You'll start doing stuff that a writer would do. People start seeing you as a writer, and then it just kind of snowballs from there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric, for coming on the podcast. Where can listeners learn more about what you do? And
so if they're trying to learn more about what I do, Instagram has both my companies. So my Instagram is ERICDMCHUGH. I have a dating app that's live in the Apple App Store, DATAING. It's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. And I'm building out aces.fun, which is a derivatives market for luxury RWAs. And the website is ACES.fun.
Okay. Once again, thanks for coming on the podcast. And thank you so much for sharing your quote and explaining it to me to really understand. And I know my listeners are going to get a ton of value from this episode.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.